They disowned me at my graduation dinner, recorded it for laughs. What they didn't film was the empire I'd already built in silence. You are welcome to today's story. Do well to subscribe so you won't miss any of our amazing mind-blowing revenge stories. I learned early that love in the Chun household was a competitive sport, and I was born without the right equipment. My sister Iris got the gene lottery. Doe eyes, effortless charm, the kind of smile that made strangers hand her things. I got Dad's blunt nose and Mom's practical build. Sturdy, my grandmother called me once. Iris was a butterfly. I was a draft horse. When I was 12, they threw Iris a birthday party with a rented bouncer and a YouTube-famous magician. When I turned 12 3 months later, Mom handed me $40 and said, "Take yourself somewhere nice." I went to the library and checked out a book on accounting. Even then I understood if no one would invest in me, I'd learn to invest in myself. They paid for Iris's photography equipment, her influencer courses, her trips to Bali for content creation. I worked the breakfast shift at Garcia's Diner, shelved books at the campus library, tutored international students in business English. My scholarships covered tuition. My 3 jobs covered everything else. The studio apartment I rented sophomore year? They never asked for the address. My acceptance into the honors program? I mentioned it once. Dad was watching golf. He grunted. When I won the departmental award for my thesis on emerging market disruption, I showed them the plaque. Iris was filming a makeup tutorial in the living room. Mom said, "That's nice, honey," without looking up from her phone, checking Iris's engagement rates. I kept the plaque in my closet face down. But last month when graduation invitations arrived, I did something stupid. I texted the family group chat. "Graduating summa cum laude on the 15th. Dinner after? My treat." Iris responded with the laughing emoji. "Dad, we'll see." Mom, "Iris has a brand event that weekend, but maybe we can squeeze something in." They showed up in the end. Iris brought her ring light. Dad wore his country club polo. Mom kept checking her reflection in her compact mirror. I should have known. People don't change just because you finally have something worth celebrating. I should have known the only gift they'd ever give me was the truth. Should Bella have seen this coming? Or was hope her only weakness? The restaurant was my choice. Marcello's, the Italian place with exposed brick and candles that cast everything in amber forgiveness. I'd made the reservation 3 weeks ago, back when I still believed this might matter. They arrived 18 minutes late. No apology. Iris immediately repositioned her chair for better lighting and propped her phone against the wine bottle. "For my followers," she explained to no one. "They love family content." Dad scrolled through emails. Mom reapplied lipstick. I watched them settle into their separate worlds and felt something in my chest grow very quiet. The waiter brought menus. I'd already planned what I'd order for everyone, things they liked, things I remembered from dinners I wasn't invited to but heard about later. Dad interrupted before I could speak. "We'll do the prefix. Cheapest one." He didn't look up from his phone. "Actually, I'm paying tonight. Bella, we didn't come here to watch you waste money trying to impress us." Mom's voice had that edge I knew intimately, the one that meant I was being difficult again. Iris filmed everything. Her phone angle just right to catch my face. Appetizers arrived. They ate. I rearranged my napkin. Small talk died before it began. They had nothing to ask me. I had nothing they wanted to hear. Between the arugula salad and the main course, Dad reached into his jacket, pulled out a cream envelope, slid it across the table with the same energy someone might use to pass the salt. "Your graduation gift." My hand shook as I opened it. For one stupid final moment I thought maybe a check. Maybe a card with words they'd actually written. Maybe something. The letterhead was from Morrison and Associates, attorneys at law. Voluntary disownment agreement. My eyes caught fragments. "Hereby sever all familial ties. No future claim to estate or assets. Signed willingly by all parties." 3 signatures at the bottom. Dad's, Mom's, Iris's. Iris zoomed in on my face. "Are you gonna cry? My followers are gonna love this character development." Mom sipped her wine. "You were always too much work, Bella. This is better for everyone." The restaurant sounds became muffled. Laughter from other tables, the clink of silverware. Dean Martin crooning from hidden speakers. My vision telescoped. I saw only the signatures. 3 names that erased mine. Should she stop or finish what she started? I didn't cry. That's what they'd never understand. They'd already taken everything that could break. What they handed me tonight was just paperwork confirming what I'd known since I was 12 years old. Sitting alone in that library with $40 and a birthday no one remembered. I folded the letter, creased it carefully, placed it in my purse next to my phone. The phone that held 6 months of secrets they'd never bothered to ask about. Thank you, I said. My voice came out steady, calm. For the clarity. I stood, left $300 on the table, enough to cover their meals and make the waiter's night. Walked out while Iris was still filming, while Dad was already back on his emails, while Mom signaled for dessert menus. The spring air hit my face. I breathed it in, kept walking. My studio apartment was 14 blocks away. I'd never given them the address, never invited them. It was the first place that was entirely mine, second-hand furniture I'd refinished, plants I'd kept alive, walls covered with things I loved instead of things that loved me back. I made tea, sat at my desk, opened my laptop. The screen illuminated a world they knew nothing about. 6 months ago, I'd met Richard Chun. No relation, he joked. At a business ethics conference I'd attended on a work-study grant. I'd asked a question during his keynote about disruption theory that made him pause mid-answer. Afterward, he'd found me. You see patterns others miss, he'd said. Have you ever thought about building something of your own? I'd shown him the business plan I'd written for class. The one my parents laughed at when I tried to share it at Christmas. A platform connecting first-generation college students with micro-mentorship and fractional internship opportunities. Solving the problem I'd lived. Richard hadn't laughed. He'd asked for my projections. Then he'd said, I'd like to fund this. If you're serious. I'd been serious. The emails were all there now. The LLC paperwork filed under my legal name. Not theirs, I changed it quietly last year. The beta platform launching in 6 days. The press release is drafted. The venture capital meeting scheduled. I pulled up a blank email. To Richard Chun. Subject. Advisory board position. Body I accept. My finger hovered over send. Then pressed. Revenge wasn't going to be loud. It was going to be inevitable. Was this justice or just the beginning of her own darkness? The launch happened on a Tuesday. Connected went live at 6 a.m. Quiet, professional, no fanfare. By noon we had 300 signups. By week's end, TechCrunch had covered it. By month's end, my name was in Forbes under 30 to watch. Bella Rosewood, founder and CEO. Rosewood. My chosen name. The one that erased Chun from my identity before they could erase me from theirs. I didn't send them the articles. Didn't call. Didn't exist in their direction at all. But their world was smaller than they realized. Mrs. Patterson from their country club saw the Forbes piece. She'd always liked me, the quiet girl who bussed tables at their charity galas for extra money. She mentioned it at their bridge game. Your daughter is making quite a name for herself. Mom's confused smile. Iris. Oh, her follower count is. No, Bella. The tech platform? It's very impressive. I knew about this conversation because Mrs. Patterson told me herself. She'd become an informal advisor, connected me with her grandson's venture capital firm. She enjoyed watching my parents squirm. They Googled you for an hour afterward, she'd said over coffee, eyes twinkling. Your mother's face was priceless. I started attending the events they frequented. Not approaching, just present. The hospital gala where Dad served on the junior board. The arts fundraiser Mom coordinated. The influencer convention where Iris was a panelist. I wore tailored suits. Spoke on panels. Got photographed with people whose names opened doors. Iris's follower count plateaued at 47,000. Her engagement dropped. Brand deals dried up. My LinkedIn showed 200,000 followers. Interview requests I politely declined. I never looked at them directly, but I felt their stares across crowded rooms, the weight of their confusion turning slowly into comprehension, then fear. The invisible daughter had become impossible to ignore. Is her silence more powerful than confrontation? The email arrived at 2:47 a.m. From Mom. Subject. Can we talk? I stared at it for 11 minutes. Didn't open it. Went back to sleep. But sleep brought memories I'd buried under spreadsheets and pitch decks. I was 16. Appendicitis. Emergency surgery at County General because I didn't want to bother them. I'd called Iris first, she was closer. She'd said, "I have a date, Bella. Just Uber to the hospital." I'd taken the bus. Bile rising in my throat, vision swimming. A stranger had called 911 when I'd collapsed at the stop. I woke up alone. Recovery room. A nurse holding my hand because no family came. They'd been at Iris's gallery opening. Her photography debut. Blurry iPhone photos selling for $200 each because Dad knew the gallery owner. I was 17. College acceptance letters arrived. Full ride to 3 schools. I'd framed my top choice, left it on the kitchen counter. Mom had used it as a coaster. Coffee ring stained the university seal. Oh, was that important? I was 19. Christmas break. I'd worked 60 hours that week to buy them thoughtful gifts. Dad's favorite scotch, Mom's out-of-print cookbook, Iris's vintage camera lens. They'd handed me a Target gift card. $25. Still in the cashier's envelope. Iris had gotten a car. I was 21. My business plan, 40 pages of research, projections, passion. I'd practiced the pitch for weeks. Dad had skimmed the first page. "Sweetie, you're not business-minded. Maybe focus on finding a nice corporate job." That plan was now worth $3.2 million. My phone buzzed. Richard calling. "You okay? Your 4 a.m. emails are usually a tell." I looked at Mom's unopened message. "They want to talk." "Do you?" I thought about the girl on the bus holding her own hand. "No," I said. "I really don't." Should she read the email or let them disappear? Richard bought me coffee the next morning. Real coffee, the kind that costs more than my old hourly wage. "I was disowned too," he said, no preamble. Different century, same story. I married outside my race. My father sent lawyers. I looked at him, truly looked. Saw the expensive watch that used to be spite, now just a watch. The corner office that used to be revenge, now just a room. When did it stop hurting? When I stopped checking if they were watching. He slid a newspaper across the table. Business section. My face. "You're still performing for ghosts, Bella." The words landed like stones. That afternoon I met Maya-chan, actual relation, Richard's daughter, our new head of community. She had her father's directness and none of his patience for my walls. "So you're the brilliant, emotionally constipated founder he won't shut up about." She grinned. "Welcome to the family business of succeeding out of spite." "I'm not. Please. I've seen your 2 a.m. Slack messages. You're running from something." She leaned back. "Let me guess. Family." I said nothing. "Yeah, me too. Different poison, same symptoms." She pulled out her phone. Showed me a blocked number. "My mom. Calls every week since I made VP. Didn't call once during my divorce." "Do you ever answer?" "No. But I also don't stay up all night hate reading her Facebook." She raised an eyebrow. "You're not stalking their socials, are you?" I closed my laptop guiltily. Iris's page had been open in another tab. Maya laughed. Not cruel, understanding. "Here's the thing about revenge through success. It only works if you're actually living. Otherwise, you're just building a prettier cage." Richard nodded. "The question isn't whether they're sorry. It's whether you're free." I wasn't. Not yet. Can success be revenge if it still hurts? The invitation arrived in gold embossing. Technology Innovation Gala. Black tie. Keynote speakers. My parents would be there. Dad's consulting firm had a table. I'd been invited to speak. Rising innovators reshaping education. Richard warned me. "You don't have to go." But I did. I needed them to see. I hired a stylist. Bought a dress that cost more than their monthly mortgage. Prepared a speech that carefully, professionally, buried them without saying their names. Then, 72 hours before the event, Iris posted. The video went viral in minutes. The truth about my successful sister. Her face tearful and filtered. Bella didn't build anything. She manipulated a rich old man into funding her vanity project. She's faking success to punish our family for not enabling her victim mentality. Splice footage. My scholarship applications edited to look like lies. My work history exposed as exaggerations. Richard's mentorship framed as something sinister. 10,000 shares. 50,000. Comments pouring in. My phone exploded. Investors calling. Press requesting statements. Board members expressing concern. I sat in my apartment shaking. Pulled up every piece of dirt I had on Iris. The plagiarized content, the bought followers, the brand deals she'd lied about, Dad's tax evasion, Mom's embezzlement from the charity she chaired. I wrote the thread. Every receipt. Every screenshot. Devastating and true. My finger hovered over post. Richard's words echoed. You're building a prettier cage. Maya's voice. Is this who you want to be? My reflection in the dark screen looked like a stranger. Looked like them willing to destroy someone just to win. I called Richard. Voice breaking. I almost did it. I almost became them. But you didn't. I wanted to. I know, he said gently. That's the cost they never tell you about revenge. Has she already lost? Or can she still walk away? I almost didn't go to the gala. Maya had to physically pull me out of my apartment. You earned this stage. Don't let them take it. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers and ambition. I saw them immediately. Dad's table front row. Mom in borrowed jewelry. Iris filming everything, her phone a weapon she'd already used. My hands shook backstage. The video had been debunked by morning. Richard's PR team, receipts, testimonials. But the damage lingered in whispers. Then my name echoed through speakers. I walked into the light. Richard introduced me. Not as a prodigy. As someone who succeeded despite, not because of, her beginnings. Who chose to build rather than destroy. I spoke about first-generation students. About the invisible ones. About platforms that create opportunity instead of hoarding it. I never mentioned my family, but everyone who mattered understood. When I finished, the applause was thunder. Backstage, they were waiting. Dad tried to hug me. I stepped back. Bella, we're so proud. Stop. Mom's tears. Practice precise. We made mistakes, but you're still our daughter. Read your paperwork. I'm not. Iris stood behind them, phone down for once, looking smaller than I remembered. I'm sorry. The video, I was just jealous? Cruel? Exactly who they raised you to be. Dad's voice hardened. You can't just erase your family. I looked at him, really looked, and saw a stranger who happened to share my old DNA. You already did that for me. I'm just honoring your wishes. I turned to leave, then stopped. And for the record, I don't accept your apology because you haven't actually apologized. You're just scared of how this looks. I walked away. No screaming. No scene. Just the sound of my heels on marble getting farther away. They didn't follow. Was revenge worth it? 6 months later I stopped counting. Stopped checking their social media. Stopped wondering if they'd seen the Wall Street Journal profile or the TED Talk invitation. Stopped performing for an audience that no longer mattered. Connected hit 50,000 users. We opened offices in 3 cities. I hired 12 people who reminded me of the girl on the bus, brilliant, overlooked, hungry for a chance someone forgot to give them. Maya became my co-founder. Richard, my board chair and the closest thing to a father I'd ever known. We had dinners on Thursdays, real ones where people asked about my day and actually listened to the answer. The letters still came. Mom's mostly. Forwarded to an assistant who returned them unopened. Per my instructions. Dad tried LinkedIn twice. Blocked. Iris sent a handwritten apology that felt focus grouped by her therapist. I read it once. Filed it away. Felt nothing. Mrs. Patterson told me they'd moved. Downsizing after Dad's firm lost a major contract. Iris was working retail. Mom had joined a support group for estranged parents. They'd started telling people I was troubled. That success had changed me. Does it bother you? Maya asked over coffee, real concern in her eyes. I thought about the disownment letter. Still in my desk drawer, but I hadn't looked at it in months. Thought about the girl who'd opened it. Hands shaking, world ending. No, I said, surprising myself with the truth. They freed me. I just took them seriously. That night, a LinkedIn notification lit my phone. Your mother wants to connect. I stared at it. No rage. No satisfaction. Just the quiet recognition of a door I'd already closed. I deleted it without opening. The Thursday dinner table was loud. Richard's terrible jokes, Maya's story about a user who'd landed their dream internship. Our CFO's ongoing saga with his sourdough starter. Someone passed the bread. Asked about my weekend plans. Actually cared about the answer. I looked around the table, at the family I'd chosen who'd chosen me back, and realized something. The best revenge wasn't making them sorry. It wasn't even making them irrelevant. It was building a life so full of people who loved me that there simply wasn't room for people who didn't. I'd won. Not because they lost, but because I'd finally completely let them go. Bella didn't destroy her family. She just stopped letting them destroy her. In a world obsessed with clapping back, she chose silence. She built an empire not to punish them, but to prove to herself she was worthy. Was revenge worth it? Or was freedom the real victory? Drop your thoughts below. Would you have posted that exposé? Or walked away like Bella did? Thanks for watching my story till the end. Subscribe and be first to know whenever we drop another story.